Welcome to Business Buying. That's what we're talking about here today. The idea today is that we teach you more than any of those fancy Ivy League degrees do about how to actually become an owner in a world of renters. We are going to go through this step by step. Now, I don't know, and you might be thinking, this is the way to buy a private jet. How do I make enough money so that I can get myself on my own little private jet? But as you can probably tell, I'm not the right person for anything like that. I have no idea how to be that woman on that former slide. What we are talking about today is something else. We are talking about how the truly, truly rich do it. What are the things we should have been taught in school, but we were not, but those on high know? Where is the difference between the two? I don't know if you guys know who these guys are. Anybody know? Let me tell you the answer. These are some of the richest men in the world. We've got the richest man in India. We've got one of the Koch brothers, the richest man in the US. We've got Carlos Slim, richest man in Mexico. We've also got, you guys know who this is? This is the richest man in the world, Bernard Arnault, who owns LVMH. Fascinating part about this guy is, I don't know if you can tell, but he owns Dior. He owns Louis Vuitton. He owns a bunch of fashion institutions. But does he look like a super fashionable guy who came up with all those designs? Probably not. And that is because he knows something that most of us don't, which is the way they make their money when they're really rich is they buy it. He amassed his giant enterprise not from creating novel new ideas, but from buying old established businesses and continuing to grow them and doing what's called a roll-up strategy, which is why now LVMH, the most valuable company in the world, from the man who made the most from it in one way, owns more than 50 companies. Kind of fascinating. You see, the really, really rich realize that it's easier sometimes to buy profits than it is to grow them. That in fact, why would you only own one company when you could own 10? This is from a good friend of mine, Jack Butcher. This is our idea here, is that when you earn laterally. When you buy, you create a core with a satellite of income streams surrounding it. That is the goal of this course, is to teach you what the really, really rich know. And potentially how to use varying types of investment to get it. This is really unique because most times people tell you when you want to go buy a house, you definitely don't use your personal network. When you want to go buy a house, you know you need to put a lot of money down. And maybe there are different strategies that because business buying hasn't yet been commoditized, we can teach that other people don't. Now, I want for each of you guys, I want you to become an empire owner, not just a business owner. And if that means a private jet, more power to you. Never been my style. But the truth is that sometimes that's not your cup of tea. And in fact, I think this is underrated. Boring businesses do not equal boring lives. That in fact, having a cash flowing, profitable, long-term business that is slow and steady so you can be with your friends and family, but still have skin in the game and ownership, that is a real unicorn. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So I want empires for you. Or I want your version of an empire, which might just be defining your own life, defining the own business that you want to run and move through every single day. And how do we do that? I think the most important thing if you want to change anything in your life and you want to reach a destination that you've never been to before is what do you need? You need a map. You need a road map and a guide to get there. And that's what this is. It's what we call the Ownership Acceleration Program. Basically 10 steps to buying your first business or buying multiple businesses. From laying the foundation, which is what we're going to go over first, to deal clarity, to origination, that means finding deals, to outreach, that means talking to owners, to evaluation, that means figuring out quickly if a deal is interesting or not for you, to offer a negotiation, how do I determine how to negotiate with the seller, to due diligence, are they lying to me, what's really in the underlying business, financing, how do I get the money for it, closing, how does all the paperwork and all of it come together so that I can close a deal? And finally, day zero, the day you are an owner and you know that unique pain and beauty of ownership.